It's like this is the clearest like fixed fight you're ever gonna see. But look at this guy holding his hands up and watch. Watch this. He like literally shows him his chin, like, and he goes down. It's so fake. Look at, I mean, he's got nothing. It's like a guy who just learned boxing yesterday.
Title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway. 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is.
No fantasy contract, just reality. You know, bringing our work to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making it.
This story ends with lawsuits being quietly discussed, careers scorched, and a heavyweight legacy staring into a massive crater. But to understand how it reached this point, you have to rewind. Because if you blinked, you missed the precise moment everything fractured. What began behind closed doors slowly erupted into a public unraveling. And the fallout is bigger than a knockout, bigger than money, bigger than ego. It raises a dangerous question about whether what fans are watching can even be trusted anymore. It sounds unreal, but it happened. And that's exactly the problem.
That's why Jake Paul is so relevant, because he's found a way to bypass promoters and make money in the boxing rings instead of being a prisoner to the promoters. Even though he didn't fight anybody, he's about to fight Anthony Joshua, and we'll see what happens with that. Anthony Joshua should knock him into tomorrow because he's the bigger fighter with incredible power, but he's got a glass jaw. So if Jake Paul catches him, who knows?
Make no mistake, this wasn't trash talk or promotional theater. This was something far more serious. A door cracked open, and behind it sat influence, leverage, and a suggestion that felt toxic. When Anthony Joshua speaks calmly, without drama, and one sentence lands heavy, that isn't noise. That's a signal. You felt it immediately, even before you could fully explain why. Your instinct reacted before logic caught up.
It's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit.
Here's where it gets unsettling. When the moment surfaced, it didn't scream for attention. It slipped out quietly, in a space where guards drop. That's what makes it dangerous. This wasn't someone chasing headlines. It was a heavyweight explaining why certain fights feel wrong, why some opportunities never materialize, and why money often speaks louder than integrity. And that gap keeps widening.
People out there that are going, Jake deserves credit, this is amazing, he's gone 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua. He hasn't gone 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua, he spent 5 rounds on his bloody bike, and the other diving for cover. Come on, let's get real about what happened last night. The dude basically used the greedy to hoodwink the stupid. Fair play to the kid, man. He made 50 million plus. I mean, someone's just sent me a message saying that they did 90 million. Respect. There's people out there saying, oh, he kept getting dropped multiple times and getting up. No, he didn't. Stop lying.
The real shock is this. Power now believes outcomes can be negotiated. That legacies can be adjusted, softened, or rewritten. And when that idea even brushes against a fighter whose career was built through earned suffering, something breaks. Fighting isn't content. The moment it becomes content, chaos follows. Somewhere along the way, someone believed Anthony Joshua could be managed like a brand.
AJ, do you think Jake is on your level whatsoever?
No.
No, okay.
Respectfully. Because it's clear. If I say yes, I'm going to be lying to myself, and I can't lie to myself. It's not that he can't compete,
right.
But when you talk about, for example, music, how many albums I've put out, how many mixtapes I've put out,
yeah.
He just hasn't got the body of work I've got in boxing.
Gotcha.
You'll hear the explanations. Miscommunication. Jokes misunderstood. Strategy talk taken out of context. But listen to the tone. The calm is the tell. When a fighter rejects the circus and simply draws a boundary, that speaks louder than accusations ever could. And here's the question no one wants to ask. If this idea was floated here, who else heard it? Who stayed silent? Silence isn't innocence.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are.
This is where it cuts deepest. Boxing survives on uncertainty, on the belief that once the bell rings, nothing is guaranteed. Poison that belief, and you don't just cheapen one night, you devalue entire careers. Fans feel it even if they can't name it. That creeping doubt. That quiet voice asking whether outcomes were shaped before the gloves ever touched.
Suing Anthony Joshua. And the reason has everybody side-eyeing this whole situation. From what's being said, Jake is claiming Anthony Joshua went off script. And when I say off script, I mean there was supposedly a no knockout clause, or at least very specific fight rules, and Joshua hitting Jake so hard that his jaw got dislocated in 2 places was not part of that agreement. Jake's basically saying that punch crossed the line from just boxing into what he's calling malicious intent.
This isn't about hating crossover money. It's about control. About who owns the narrative. About someone believing violence can be guided like a storyboard. When that suggestion reaches a fighter who earned leverage the hard way, refusal becomes the headline. And that refusal terrifies people. Because it proves not everyone is for sale.
Jake Paul gets knocked out predictably by Anthony Joshua in tonight's fight. Now, I am torn on this fight. When it first started and Joshua was giving it, I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. It's the Tyson fight again. We're talking about 2 fighters who are pretending. It looked like a Rocky fight at the start. Joshua was afraid to let go. He was just like tapping. Let Jake get a few punches and everything. And then I'm thinking, hang on, I'm torn between 2 ways.
As the discussion spread, other fighters and analysts weighed in direct.
Pause for a moment. Because the aftermath wasn't denial. It was fog. And fog is where speculation thrives. Clips get replayed. Fans connect dots promoters hoped would remain scattered. There's more beneath the surface. Things left unsaid because saying them would ignite something no one could contain.
Messy. If Jake is really saying this fight was supposed to follow a script, then what does that say about the event, the Vegas crowd, the betting money, all of that? Because that opens up a whole different conversation nobody wants to touch. He's allegedly claiming Anthony Joshua could be on the hook for something like $20 million for violating the rules and going beyond what was agreed upon. But let's be real for a second. This is boxing. People get hit. Jaws get broken. That's literally the risk you take stepping into the ring.
The reaction wasn't random. It split cleanly along tribal lines. One side needs spectacle to feel legitimate. The other needs the sport to remain sacred. When those worlds collide, the damage isn't loud at first. It's whispers. Carefully chosen phrasing. People speaking as if they're walking on glass. That tells you everything.
The section where the 2 parties are going to meet, talk, discuss, have this. Just watch this video.
And mentally.
It's already written.
Where?
In the history books, brother.
In yours, not mine.
No, it is. You'll see. There's only one God, and God wrote it.
You see with Jake, what I learned about Jake is that he's a mental person. This is my observation. Not only the physical aspects of training, but the way he thinks, meditation, breath work. If I can break his soul, and I can break his mentality.
Here's the time bomb. Once the idea of a script enters the bloodstream, every punch gets questioned. Every slow round feels suspicious. Every tactical pause looks intentional. Fans start rewatching fights like investigators. That isn't entertainment. That's distrust. And distrust spreads faster than hype ever could.
Was he carrying Jake Paul? Was he carrying Jake Paul because of the script with the mentality of knocking him out before time? Or was Joshua not wanting to potentially hurt this guy? Like hurt him? Like, it was throwing single punches, sometimes the odd 1 or 2s. You know what I mean? The first 4 rounds, you're talking like 8 punches to 5 punches. And it was like, I was thinking now, there's some sort of script in.
The ripple effects extended beyond boxing circles.
What lingers most is what wasn't said. Joshua didn't posture. He didn't perform. He didn't chase attention. That restraint makes the implication heavier. Fighters hunting clout don't move like that. Fighters protecting boundaries do. If this makes you uncomfortable, good. Comfort is how problems survive.
The Jake Paul fight script just got leaked and the details are absolutely insane. This script goes back to the initial promotion where he was supposed to fight a super underweight Gervonta Davis. But we now learn this fight was never supposed to happen. The plan was always to fight Anthony Joshua, but they started with a villain arc by positioning him against someone 70 pounds lighter. So when he goes to fight someone heavier instead, he looks like a hero underdog instead of the initial side. That's just the beginning. The script for the actual fight is set up for it to go the distance and Paul to be awarded the win by decision. As a result,
this episode also underscored the power imbalance.
Now consider this. If something like this could be casually suggested to a global star, imagine the pressure on fighters without leverage or platforms. Imagine the quiet deals, the nods, the contracts filled with gray language. Boxing has always been dangerous. That's the bargain. But when risk becomes a violation of a plan instead of part of the fight, the sport flinches. The ring stops being a proving ground and starts looking like a liability. That shift is terrifying. This story isn't finished. Networks are watching. Sponsors are recalculating. Young fighters are learning. Veterans are revisiting moments they didn't fully understand at the time. Somewhere, someone is uneasy because a public line was drawn. I'll leave you uneasy on purpose. Because too many words are being chosen carefully. Too many gaps remain. And when the next piece drops, it won't arrive softly. It will land hard. And boxing may not recognize itself afterward.